Well, good morning, friends. Mark Holmes here with my buddy Cowboy Joe Boo, as well as Joe Bear in the house. And as always, I want to thank you all for watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part of the Joe Boo Sports Report. Without you guys, as well as you ladies, you know that this literally does not work. So let's get open for business here, and let's wake up the football gods here on this Monday. I know that a lot of you don't look forward to Mondays, but I, for one, love Mondays since I started out about 6 years or so ago on the Benet Emery Show, where we had our Monday night live stream and stuff. And, of course, you know tonight, 9 o'clock Eastern, we'll be doing our live stream. We'll recap the fantasy football draft that we had on Saturday, as well as talk about the Dallas Cowboys, which will be coming off the field about the time that we end up starting our live stream. The Cowboys are back in Dallas. They're back practicing at the Star tonight, 6 o'clock Central Time, 7 p.m., of course, Eastern. That's a late practice. And the good news is Dak Prescott, our quarterback, will be back on the field practicing at a limited base, okay? They're going to bring him along, bit by bit and work him into it. He may actually play against the Texans some this weekend. And quite frankly, here's the deal. Let's not sugarcoat this. Let's not pretend that the season doesn't hedge on Dak Prescott's health. Garrett Gilbert, he did some nice things in the Steeler Hall of Fame game. Not so much, of course, last week, although, a couple of those snaps by Connor Williams were bad, a couple of drops that were out there and things. But Double G is not Dak Prescott. Cooper Rush, well, we've seen a lot of Cooper Rush over the years and things. And sidearm, Ben DiNucci. His mechanics are so far off. I've never seen anything like it. But, at least he did get the Dallas Cowboys their first touchdown. So we have some changes that are being done management-wise for this offseason. Tomorrow, 4 o'clock, every one of the teams have to cut down to 85 men. We've got a lot of guys that, are kind of on the outside looking in. We have to make 5 cuts, so we'll be losing 5 players and getting down to 85 men. For me, I kind of don't understand something. I know I'm a guy with a day job and a voodoo doll, and, I don't understand the ins and outs of football, so to speak. But to me, it seems like the roster should be a little bit bigger than what they are. With having 17 games now, that's a whole nother week of football. That's another week where guys are going to get hurt. That you're going to lose 10, 15 guys every season. Why not increase the roster from a 53-man to a 60-man? Have 7 more guys there that understand the system, understand what you're doing, as opposed to having to go out and get guys off the street. 54, 55, 56, and all those guys, you're only talking about a couple $1 million of money. But I guarantee you, having them in there, that's almost like having a minor league of football players that are going to continue to have a better product on the field. But, again, what do I know? I'm a guy with a day job and a voodoo doll, as we all know. And so the team, of course, is going to be getting back to work tonight. I'm happy about that. But we are only 24 days, 9 hours, and 11 minutes and 20 seconds away from kickoff. That's not much time. Now, for me, I was talking about the defense a little bit. Keanu O'Neal. Keanu O'Neal, in the limited time that he's played, is actually showing up really, really well. And I was also talking about, some of the young talent we have on the defensive line. And as I look at this, collectively, this may be the best defensive line that we've had going for a long time. We've had great edge rushers and DeMarcus Ware and, D-Law, of course, had, 2 really great seasons. Although now, because you haven't had the other guys there with it, he's getting the lion's share of the focus and getting a lot of double teams. But as you look across the board, as I look at the Rondell Carters, as I look at the OCs, double lot as I like to call them, as I look at now Bradley and Nye, and these guys who are all of a sudden showing up and pushing the other guys, as I think about Randy Gregory, although he's a little nicked up here with his ankle and hasn't played in preseason yet, but him actually having an off season is actually really, really good. And you start looking at this across the board. Now, of course, losing Gallimore definitely hurts, but with injury becomes opportunity. And so when you think about somebody like Quentin Bohannon, he's going to be able to get some extra work and may end up getting more playing time because of it. And his development can develop a lot quicker because of it. The reality is there's not a lot of time in practice to go down for the guy that's in second and third string. Basically, the focus is your starters. And a lot of times it's not a matter of a player not having the ability. It's a player not having had the time to understand what he needs to do, to understand the things that he needs to work on, whether it's being too high at a pad level or understanding his different moves or going against top-notch talent in practice. And this is where you start building that depth in the roster. Now, for me, I look at this with our offense. Let's be clear here. Everything hedges on Dak Prescott. Our season is in Dak Prescott's hands. As much as we like Double G and everything else, who did some great things at the Hall of Fame, this past week it was a little sloppy, although some of that was Connor Williams with 2 bad snaps and some drop passes. You look at Cooper Rush, we know what we're getting with Cooper Rush, and of course, Ben DiNucci with the sidearm. Well, you get my drift. But with our offense, this offense is a score-at-will type of an offense. They can literally score at will. And I don't know that you want to throttle them and say, we're just going to take our time scoring. You want to just go ahead and blow these guys out here. As I look at Washington, as I look at the Giants, as I look at the Eagles, if you put up 30 points, more chances are that you're just going to win those. I do not think the other teams have the ability to keep up. But with that, that changes the dynamics for the defense, some good and some bad. That makes the offenses on the other team one-dimensional, which means as a defensive lineman, as a defensive end, you are pinning your ears back and you're going after the quarterback. And it's a lot easier if you know if it's going to be a run versus a pass. Because now you know I'm getting my motor going and I'm getting after that point of attack. And you look at how the Dallas Cowboys have reconstructed this defense. They got younger, they got more athletic, they got more length, and they have a lot of depth, a lot of guys that can continue to go in. And here's the thing. The offensive linemen, you're not changing them unless they get injured. They're out there for the whole game. But if you can bring in wave after wave of fresh bodies after that offensive lineman, you will wear them down. And when you are a young guy who's only getting 10 snaps, you're trying to make the most of it. And when somebody gets a big play, everybody else turns around and says, I want to get me some. They feed off of that. And that's where you start getting this feeding frenzy. And as an offensive lineman, as a game goes on, when you play the same guy all game, you start learning the tendencies, the moves, and everything else. But when you have 2 or 3 different guys that you're playing against, you don't learn that. It's more difficult for you. And I kind of like the way this is going thus far. Again, it's still only week 2 of the preseason. We got 2 more games that are left. The Texans one will be the big one. The final preseason game, not so much. It'll be more of the consolation bowl for the guys who are on the cut list to make the last statement to either be with the Cowboys or to be with somebody else. But this game on Friday night is going to be the key game. So with that being said, I hope I see you guys here tonight at 9 o'clock Eastern. We'll recap the fantasy football. I'll see if I can get Roz to come in here, and we'll be talking about everything that is the Dallas Cowboys as well as, as well as our fantasy football drafts. And so with that being said, you know the deal.
Watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part of the Joe Sports Report.